Have you ever been working on a train track or a road and trying to merge two separate connections and only to find it has this terrible overlap? Do you completely avoid going off-grid and using curves to avoid this very problem? What if I was to tell you there's a way to merge any two grids in a clean manner and turn this into this, or this into this? And that's what I'm going to quickly show you today. And also, I'm going to show you how you can use the same technique to improve your builds by adding any angles you want. All right, we're going to jump right in. I'm going to give you the TLDR version for those that just want to see how it's done, and then we'll do some additional examples and talk about it afterwards. So we're going to fix this point here. I have a little single railway that I've brought together, and as you can see, the grids are off. And in order to do this, we need to make sure that we have a space that's at least 8 meters wide. So I'm going to go ahead and delete these two foundations. You could absolutely make this longer, but we're going to start here just to keep it simple. And what we want to do is we need to connect this corner to that one and that corner to this one. Take a painted beam and we're going to connect it to the corner here in the vertically centered position. If you're using a 2 or 1 meter foundation, you would do the same thing, just put it in the vertical center. And then we're going to go into freeform mode and connect this corner over to this one. We're then going to go back to the start of our beam, switch to default mode, and we're going to go out 4 meters. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to go inside 4 meters, just like this. Now, before we continue on there, we're going to go ahead and do the other side to make this easier. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to start over here in freeform mode, and we're going to go over to this side as well, just like before. Go back to our start, switch to default mode, 4 meters, 2, 3, 4. In 4 meters. Now that we got that set up, we're going to take our foundation, we're going to snap one to that beam, and we're going to snap one to this beam. At this point, we can start getting rid of our beams. It's going to be kind of hard to get the inside one, so you probably have to move it. And as you can see now, our pathways have perfectly connected. Clean corner on this side, clean corner on this side. We got a bit of an overlap this way, but it's clean. No more jagged edges, no more nothing. You can get carried on. But that is the basic technique right there. You now have clean, merged foundations. You can do this with any width, and I'm going to demonstrate on a road over there. All right, now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to fix up this road right here, which is 3 foundations wide. Now, I don't want to have a small bend in my road right here at the end. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to clear all the way back to this turn. And now that we got that cleared out, we're going to do the same thing. That said, on this one, since this road is no longer parallel with that, we now have the short side and the long side. So in this case, unlike the last one where we did the trick on both sides, we're going to do it on the same side on this one, because we always want to do it on the long side. All right, so we're going to do the same thing as before. We're going to take our beam in freeform mode, start at this corner, and we're going to go all the way over to this corner. And you might notice that this beam is not long enough. That's okay. You'll notice it's still pointing where it needs to go. So as long as we click where we need to, the beam will be facing where we need it to go, and we can continue on doing what we need to. So default mode, 1, 2, 3, 4. In by 4 meters as well. We can add our foundation and delete our beams. We're going to leave this open for now so we can continue to use that corner. Now we're going to do the same thing over here. Freeform mode, start at this corner. And we're going to go over to this corner. Doesn't reach, but it's exactly where it needs to be. Switch back to default mode, go in by 4 meters. 2, 3, 4, go in by 4. Attach your foundations and clear your beams. Now at this point, we can merge them together. And you might be like, why do we need to do it on both sides? Well, if you don't do it on both sides, you'll end up with something like this. So at the very least, you can merge them in the middle, or you can merge them here to overlap. But you need a merge point, and you'll see it's super clean. Doesn't matter where we merge, as long as we do it. And again, we have a clean connection. The bend starts here, and it ends here. You would not have realized that we just merged 2 off-grid roads together after the fact. It looks like we built this from start to finish. Super easy. This is wonderful. And the one thing I do want to point out, when you're doing these turns and you're doing this, you always want to start on the outside of a turn. In the case of where we had them facing the same direction and they were slightly offset, on each point, it was a turn. That one's like a turn to the right, and the other one was a turn to the right. So that's why we had to do that connection point on either side. But this one, they're both, one's turning left and one's turning right, which is why we did the both on the same side. So it's just a matter about looking at the turn and what direction that turn's going, and you have to consider both sides of the turn. So that means, yes, you can come in at any angle. You can come in at 45, you can come in at 50 from each other, and it'll still work. And I'm actually going to show you how you can benefit from that to help your building designs just as much. All right, now I'm going to show you how you can use this trick to create angles on your buildings or in other scenarios that you normally couldn't do. Now, most people have seen how to create an angle with a 45 degree, but we're going to go something more extreme. How about something like this? Well, we can absolutely do it with this method. It doesn't matter the angle, you can absolutely connect any two corners of foundations. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to start over here in freeform mode on this foundation, and we're going to connect to this corner on this foundation. Maybe long, but that's okay. It does what we need it to do. Same thing, go into default mode, 4 over, 4 in. Connect your foundation. You can delete your work. Now we can go the other way. Freeform, start there, end there. Move this out of the way. Default mode, in by 4. In by 4. And now we can add our foundation. Clear out the beams. Bring this one back. Bring this one back. And now we can connect this one all the way down. And connect this one too. And look at that. We have now easily connected and have a really cool angled wall. And we can do this with any sort of angles that we want. So now I'll do it with this one. And just like that, we have clean angles, clean edges. Things that we could not do before. This makes it super easy. So not only can you merge any grid, you can now do extra angles with your factories. So I hope this was informative. Please let me know in the comments below what you like or if you have any questions. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.